this is the particular day. You remember, some of you will know that during the Battle of Kurukshetra, Bhishma got mortally wounded, and he was lying on the battlefield. So even after the battle was over, he hadn't died. He had a benediction, Bhishma had a benediction, grandfather Bhishma, that he could choose the moment when he died. So he was waiting for something. So he was actually there for a long time. What was he waiting for? He was waiting for this day, which is Makara Sankranti, where the sun goes to its auspicious, starts on an auspicious course through the sky. So he was waiting for this day. And it was, of course, the main auspiciousness was not just that the sun was going in a favorable direction, but that Krishna was right there. Krishna was right there in front of him. So when he left his body, he was looking right at the face of Krishna, and he was fully satisfied, fully happy. But it's actually, and it's also mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. It's mentioned in the 6th chapter. Let's see if we can find it. Let's see if we can find it in the 6th chapter, where it talks about the yogi leaving his body. And it's saying that if the yogi leaves his body at an inauspicious time, he has to come back to the material world. And that if he leaves at an auspicious time, he doesn't come back. He gets liberated. So that's referring to this auspicious time, and inauspicious time is referring to the sun's movements. That's an auspicious time. I think it's in the 6th chapter. I'll just see quickly if I can find it, otherwise we'll leave it at that. But I'm sure it's in the 6th chapter here. And also, this is the day that the Juhu temple in Bombay, in Mumbai, it opened on this day 43 years ago. So this is the 43rd anniversary of the Juhu temple, and they started on this Makara Sankranti day. And they picked an auspicious day to start it. It's also said that this is a very good day, Makara Sankranti, a good day to start any project, to start something. This is a good day to do it. So they started on this day. And this on this day is the day my spiritual master's book about Juhu, the whole Juhu story of how they got the temple, which was a very difficult project to get established. There was a lot of obstacles. So his book has finally been published, and it's being released on this day. So right now in India and Juhu, they're having a big program for the anniversary of their temple opening 43 years ago, and also releasing my Guru Maharaj's book, which is all about the Juhu story. So that's happening today.
Is that when the owner of the land reneged on a few of the agreements with the
temple? That's right, yes. Yeah. He had already actually pretended to sell the same land to many other people, and he had got out of the sale deed and kept the money. So he already had taken other people's money, and he was planning to do the same thing with the Hare Krishnas. But what he didn't counter on was that Prabhupada, so smart, so clever, and so attached to getting that land. Now the question is, we're taught about we shouldn't be attached to anything in this material world. So why was Prabhupada so attached to getting that
Because
particular land. Yeah.
because it was for Krishna.
Yeah, he was attached for Krishna.
Build
That
the
he had,
temple.
yeah, he had promised Krishna. He had the deity's names there is called Rasa Bihari. Krishna's name there is called Rasa Bihari, one who enjoys the rasa dance, the Rasa Leela pastimes is called Rasa Bihari. So he had promised Rasa Bihari, Krishna, that he would build him a temple there. So he had made a promise. So this is the right thing to do. If you've made a promise to Krishna, you should keep it.
I think, pardon me, mate, you might hear my phone a little bit. I'm on a leash with my granddaughter. I may have to take her to work.
Oh, no, you can't.
So, sorry if you see me get a text or something.
No, that's okay. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Come on, Bob. You can't do that.
That's okay.
Yeah,
That's
and
fine.
apparently, I think from memory, didn't he also have people? This is the rascal. Didn't he also have like the police and the government on his side at one stage as well? Didn't he?
Yeah, he was powerful. His name was Mr. Nair, and Prabhupada called him Mr. N. So he used to be the chief of police of Bombay.
Ah.
And so he met that's very influential. If you're the chief of police, because in India the police can pretty much get away with murder, literally. And also he owned a major newspaper in Bombay. So he had so much propaganda and that he could do. And he was in the know with so many politicians and everything like that. So he had so many schemes, and he actually had the police come and try to break the temporary temple they had in the beginning over the deities. So that was Prabhupada's part of his plan, was we'll straight away bring Krishna on the land and establish a little temple. And in India, if you put a temple on a piece of land, you can't move it. You can't like just push off someone's temple.
Yeah.
That's like sacred. And but this guy was such a rascal. He tried to break the temple, and they almost did it. But there was a whole drama there, and they were rescued by Krishna. And like that, there was so many intrigues. And finally, they were successful. Actually, what happened is Mr. Nair very surprisingly died. And he was not very old, and he was very fit and healthy. Very fit and healthy. So it was a big surprise. And Prabhupada was actually in New Zealand at the time when the news came that Mr. Nair had died. So they got a phone call in Auckland from Mumbai, from Juhu, saying that Mr. Nair was dead. And one disciple named Shrita Kirti took the phone call from a devotee named Bali Mardan in Bombay. So Prabhupada was getting a massage at the time in Auckland, and Shrita Kirti called out, Prabhupada, Mr. Nair is dead. And Prabhupada went, Jai! Nrsingadev has killed him. And normally saintly people aren't happy if someone's died.
Yeah.
That's not a normal kind of reaction.
Yeah.
Someone died and you say Jai, which means like all glories, victory. But he was a major obstacle. He was such a big thorn in the side of ISKCON. And he was such an evil person. And Prabhupada had actually prayed to Krishna to remove him. And Krishna did. Prabhupada said Nrsingadev killed him.
Wow.
And some of the devotees were a bit concerned about Prabhupada's being so happy that someone died. And Prabhupada quoted a verse from the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam saying where Prahlad Maharaj is saying that even a saintly person is happy when a envious demon is killed. Just like a saintly person is happy when a snake is killed.
There you go.
A snake is a very envious creature. For no reason, a snake will just bite someone. And not even they have to do something wrong or anything like that. They'll just go up to someone and just bite them. That's the nature of a snake. They're just so envious. They just want to hurt someone, to hurt something. So some people are like snakes. Even you haven't done anything wrong, these snake-like people, demoniac people, will just try to hurt others. So it's said in the same way that even a saintly person is happy when a snake is killed. Then when these snake-like demons are killed, then the saintly people become happy. Because it actually makes it a lot better for the people remaining to have these people gone. Just like when the snake is gone, people will feel safe and protected and happy, and you're always in fear when the venomous snake is around. So, and Prabhupada told a story about one time in India, Prabhupada's spiritual master Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, there was a snake that was found outside the temple. So the Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati gave an order to the disciples to kill it. That was his instruction. He said, kill the snake. And some of the people were surprised. Some of the disciples were surprised why the spiritual master is ordering the snake to be killed. And then this verse was quoted from the 7th canto, saying that even a saintly person is happy when a snake is killed. So yeah, it was a big intrigue, big saga, and finally Prabhupada was victorious. And as soon as the husband died, Mr. Naya died, then the wife surrendered the property. She signed the sale deed, and it was all over, and then it became fully their property, and they were victorious. But it was a big journey. And Prabhupada was very concerned about that temple. I mean, I heard my spiritual master just talking about how Prabhupada one time, when it was very difficult, spent 4 months continuously living in Juhu. Now that was very unusual, because Prabhupada was always traveling around. Those of you that have read about Prabhupada knows that, he was always moving. He didn't really stay in one place more than usually a few days, or maybe a week if they're lucky, a week or maybe 2 weeks max. Or it's unheard of that he stayed like in one place for like 4 months. But that's how much he was concerned about that project, and really wanted to be there to help make sure it went on okay. So yeah, that was very important for him. Yeah. So today is the anniversary of that temple opening, and my spiritual master's book, which a lot of devotees have been very excited about reading that book about the Juhu story. It's the first book that tells everything about the Juhu pastime from beginning to end, sort of thing. Very comprehensive it'll be. So it's very exciting. So I found the verse, and I couldn't find it in the 6th chapter because it was in the 8th chapter. So now I'm remembering where it is. Okay, so we can look at that. The 8th chapter, text number. Oh no, I lost it again. Okay. I thought I had my finger on it. Where is it? But at least I know it's in the 8th chapter. I think I fiddled with the pages while I was talking. Okay. Oh yeah, here it is, 25, yeah. 8th chapter, text 25. Text 25. Okay. Got it? 8th chapter, text 20, Attaining the Supreme, the chapter's called. Text number 25. Yeah. Let's read it, huh? Jumo Ratris Tata Krishna. You want to have a go?
Jumo Radhrishta Krishna.
Sanmasa Dakshinayanam
Tanmasa Dakshinayam
Tatra Chandra Masam Jyotir
Tatra Chandra Masam Jyoti
Yogi Prapya Nivartate.
Yogi Prapya Nirvatate.
Okay, Bhakti Mala, do you want to read the English?
The mystic who passes away from this world during the smoke, the night, the fortnight of the waning moon, or the 6 months when the sun passes to the south, reaches the moon planet, then comes back.
Okay, so this is talking about, you could say, these particular times, if you die, is not very auspicious. Not very auspicious. So if it looks like from here, if I'm understanding it correctly, if there's smoke in the air when you die, that's not very auspicious. So the person may have to come back. And also at nighttime, if you leave your body at nighttime, that's not very, then you have to come back. If you leave during, obviously in the moon cycle, there's 2 weeks of the waning moon. That means when the moon is getting smaller towards the new moon. So, which we've just passed, actually, we've just passed the new moon, Amavas, it's called in Sanskrit. Amavas means the new moon. So we've just passed that. Now the moon has started waxing again. So, but during the waning, the 2 weeks of the waning, if the yogi dies then, he has to come back. And the 6 months when the sun passes to the south, then during that 6 months in the year, if the yogi dies, he has to come back again. So this point of time when after the moon has been going on its southward journey for 6 months, and now it's starting to go on its northern journey for the other 6 months, this is when Bhishma Dev left his body, when it started going on the northern course, which is this day. This is the first day where the sun's going on its northern course, which is known as Makara Sankranti. So let's read the 26th, which tells about the auspicious. Shukla Krishna Gati Hete
Shukla Krishna Gati Haite
Jagata Shashvate Mate
Jagata Shashvate Mate
Ekayayatyan Navritam
Ekya Yatra Navitam
Anyaya Vatite Puna.
Anyaya Varate Puna.
Gulshan, do you want to read that one?
According to the Vedic opinion, there are 2 ways of passing from this world. One is the light and one is darkness. When one passes in the light, he does not come back. But when one passes in the darkness, he returns.
So, Abhay, I have a question there.
Yeah.
So, if you've been to a funeral and straight away while the funeral's on or just finished, there's a thunderstorm.
Yeah.
And often you wonder if it's the person that's passed is moving to another planet or something. Would that be classed as an auspicious time? Does it say anything about that?
I mean, there are different signs which indicate something auspicious or good. And also there are other signs indicating inauspicious, or you could say bad omens. Another word you could use, omen, right? Good omens, bad omens. Yep. So there are different signs like that of good omens, bad omens. So, but that one of a thunderstorm happening, I've never heard about that. I don't want to speculate about it, whether that's good or bad. Right. I know it's a good omen if there's like a rain shower if you've done some kind of sacrifice, some kind of activity to please the Lord, and there's like a light shower of rain, that's regarded as a good sign. That's a good sign.
Right. So like a sun shower with maybe a rainbow.
Yeah. I mean,
Is a good sign.
definitely rain is auspicious, right? We all need water. I mean, you just mentioned about how up north, in Queensland, it's like a green desert or whatever. There's no rain, so that's not a good sign.
Green drought.
The water is so essential. So if you get like a shower of rain, that's like a blessing from the demigods. A blessing from the demigods if you get a little shower of rain when something. So if there was a funeral or whatever, and there was a shower of rain or something, a light shower of rain. Not if there was like a torrential downpour and everyone's getting like completely smashed to bits by hail or something. That wouldn't be auspicious. But like a shower of rain or something like that, it's a good sign.
Good sign. Okay.
Mm. So there are different times, obviously, when we may leave this body, and some times are regarded as auspicious, and others are not auspicious. So are we going to freak out about that and start thinking, oh my God, I better make sure I die at the right time? How do you do that? How do we? Because we don't really know when we're going to die. And what if I happen to die at the wrong time, when it's during the waning moon or the 6 months of the southern course of the sun, or during the nighttime or something like that? So, but the next verse, let's just keep going, because this is going to pacify any maybe anxiety that we have at this point.
So this is now text 27.
Yeah. So let's just read the English. Bob, do you want to read English for that one?
Yep. Although the devotees know these two paths, O Arjuna, they are never bewildered. Therefore, be always fixed in devotion.
Yeah. So we don't need to get bewildered or anxious about this, that there's a good time to die and a bad time to die. We don't have to worry about that. Why don't we have to worry? Because, well, let me see if you know the answer. Why? I mean, ordinary persons, this might be of great concern to them, that whether they die at the right time or the wrong time. But for someone that's Krishna conscious or engaged in devotional service, why don't we have to get anxious about this? About the time that we die?
Because he loves us and he'll look after us.
Yeah, we completely depend on Krishna. That's why a devotee has no anxiety even about the time of death.
And we got no control over our death. Like, we can't choose their death.
Yeah, well, nobody can. If you're a devotee or not a devotee, it doesn't matter who you are. Nobody has control over it.
Yeah, it's not in their hands.
But those that are not devotees may have a lot of anxiety about that. And what if they go at the wrong time? Of course, most people don't even know about this, that there's good bad times and bad times to die. But even those that do know about it, some of them, they may be anxiety about that. A lot of these mundane sort of yogis, that they're really trying hard to make sure they go at the right time, so that they don't come back. And but the devotee doesn't have any of that anxiety. We leave it completely up to the Supreme, completely up to Krishna. Whenever he takes me, and whatever he does is all good. We were just reading about that last week, talking about that we don't have any anxiety, because we leave everything up to Krishna. We know he's in control, and that he's our friend. He's our friend. He loves us. So we have complete trust in Krishna's whatever his judgment is for us, whatever he arranges is just perfect. So we're completely peaceful. It's just like a child, right, in the hands of the mother. It's completely helpless, and it feels completely safe. Of course, the mother or father could drop the kid off a skyscraper if they wanted. I mean, the child can't do anything to protect themselves, but of course they're not going to do that, because they love the child. They love the child, and they have complete faith, that they're going to be protected by the parent. Like that. So the devotee is the same. We leave it up to Krishna whenever he makes the arrangement to take us. So, Does anyone want to say anything about that? Okay. But yeah, materially, there is good times and bad times. So this Bhishma was waiting for that materially auspicious good time to leave his body. So he waited for this day. So this is this day where the sun is changing to its new course towards the north, Makar Sankranti. It's also a day in India where they have just harvested their first rice crop. It's a big day because, I mean, their society, especially in the villages, is centered a lot around food production. It's very important. You know, their life is very intimately involved with growing food and harvesting the food and then eating that, you know, fresh organic food and everything like that. So they're not working in offices or factories. Generally in the villages, everyone's work is revolving around producing food, which is right, which is the right thing to do. I mean, if you look before a couple of 100 years ago when the Industrial Revolution kicked in the West, I mean, nearly everyone on the planet, their job was involved in producing food. Most people. I mean, some people producing cloth or different things like that, or gold merchants or whatever. But usually it was related to the land, related to food. So when we harvested a crop of wheat or rice or whatever, that was a big thing. So this is the time of year in India where they're harvesting the rice, and they have a big celebration because they're getting all the new crop of rice for the year. So they're cooking up these special preparations one's called pungal. In South India, they call it pungal, and other places where they make these special dishes out of rice. Gulshan, in the north, what do they call it?
Lori.
Lori, yeah, Lori. In the north, they call this day Lori, and in the south, they call it Pongal Day.
Pongal.
Yeah, Pongal. So when they've harvested the rice and making special dishes like sweet rice, kheer, payasam, you know, and they make special things.
We make for the wheat. It's Air Punjab. There's a wheat state. All that the grain, the whole grain.
Yes.
We just put the campfire around that and put the wheat and cook there and eat.
Yes. So in South India, mainly rice is growing in that climate, and the very wet climate. So rice needs more water, and it's amazing how it works. That South India is very hot. So, and rice, and the main grain there people are living from, subsisting on is rice. What effect does that have on the body? It's cooling. It's a cooling grain. When you eat it, it cools you down. And North India in the wintertime gets very cold.
Yeah.
And the main crop there, it's a drier climate, and wheat is the crop that's grown in that drier climate. It doesn't need so much water as rice needs. And what effect does wheat have on the body? It's heating. So it's amazing. The particular food that's growing in your area is what's good for you.
Yeah.
And it's just automatically like that. It's amazing, isn't it?
The nature does the thing.
Nature has arranged everything. We were just reading that in the Sri Upanishad, how in this material world, the Lord has made a perfect arrangement for everyone. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadya Purnameva Vashishyate. That there's a complete arrangement for our maintenance in the material world. So they're just the right foods for us in the particular situation we're in, right here with us. We need for our maintenance and us to be happy and peaceful and prosperous. Everything is there. Only that human beings stuff it up. We complicate things. No, I don't want to eat rice. I want to eat wheat. You know, I don't want to eat wheat. I want to eat rice. You know, and we eat the wrong food, and we wonder why our body is overheating or getting too cold or whatever, or something's going wrong. Or
watermelon only come in summer.
Yeah, watermelon comes in summer, but we want to eat in winter. That's crazy.
We need it in summer, plenty of water.
Yeah. Food for thought. Food for thought. So on this auspicious day, we also have tried to do something, make use of the auspicious day, and we've registered a charity, a not-for-profit charitable trust on this day, called Krishna Culture Educational Foundation. So Jayanti just registered that today.
Oh, congratulations!
On this auspicious day.
Haribo.
It's said to be a good day to start something, so we
Yes,
thought we'd start
definitely.
something on this day,
Definitely.
so we can have a little organization to
What
support
is called? Krishna's? What is
Krishna
called?
Culture
Yeah, Krishna
Educational Foundation.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. You have to put Krishna first.
Yes, of course.
Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada tells how Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati would measure whether an article was good or not. He would measure it by how good it was by how many times the word Krishna was mentioned. So we definitely wanted to put Krishna in the heading.
How come we not put in the Bhakti tree, the Krishna first?
No, it can be a trading name, but this is the
okay.
name of the trust. So trading name, you can do whatever you want. You know, Food for Life or Bhakti Tree or whatever like that. But this is just the name of the trust. Yeah. Okay, so let's get back to our systematic study. So last week we read about on 2 verses, 5th chapter, Karma Yoga, Action and Krishna Consciousness. We read text 13 and 14. So today we're going to 15. And in just a little recap on last week. So the subject has just been about how the Krishna conscious yogi, how he's happy in the material body, even though the body is full of so many sufferings, and the material world is full of suffering. And Krishna says that in the 8th chapter, that's the nature of the material to suffering. But if we maintain a spiritual awareness, a spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness in the material body, we can live happily in this body, and also, very importantly, free from karmic reactions. Very important. Because as long as we get reactions to activities, we have to, talking about what we were just speaking about, we have to come back again. We're just reading about that, right? If you leave at the auspicious time, you don't come back. If you leave at an unauspicious time, you have to come back. Also, if you're getting reactions to your activities, you have to come back. But this is a Krishna conscious person is working for Krishna's pleasure, for the pleasure of the Supreme. He's not getting any reactions to his work. So what's the result of that? That there's no reactions to you. You're a non-reactive worker. It's called akarma. The result of that is you don't come back. That's what causes us to reincarnate, to take birth again. Some people ask us, "Oh, you Hare Krishnas believe in reincarnation?" And sometimes I say, "Actually, we don't believe in reincarnation. We don't want to come back. We don't want to keep reincarnating. Reincarnating is not it happens, but it's not a good process. Because what does reincarnation involve? 4 things. You tell me.
Birth, death, old age, disease.
Yeah, birth, death, and sandwiched in between that is old age and disease. And none of those things are very nice. Actually, we don't believe in reincarnating. We don't want to reincarnate. We want to live forever in our spiritual body. So that's what our mission is. That's the mission of human life. And then that's said to be the special feature of human life. This is the only species out of 8,400,000 species. This is the only species where you have an opportunity to not take birth again. This is the real value of human life. As the great sage Vishvamitra Muni was questioned by Lord Ram's father Dasharath and said, Purna Janma Jaya, are you successful in being victorious over repeated birth and death? So this is the mission of the sages, the munis, or the brahmanas. But this is the mission of every human being. We're all meant to become like brahmanas. Brahmana means a person who knows Brahman. Brahman is the Sanskrit word for the soul. For the soul. The soul is Brahman, or spiritual. The word for spiritual is called Brahman. And knowing that we're not a material being, we're a spiritual being. This is a great mistake. This is the greatest ignorance in modern day society, where people falsely believe that they're the physical material body. But actually we're not. And the very first thing that we're taught in Vedic culture is that we're not the body, that aham brahmasmi, this is the term. Aham means I, and brahmasmi means am a soul. I'm a spiritual being. And so this is the opportunity in human life to realize that we're not the body, that we're a spiritual being. And if we act, appropriately as a spiritual being in service of the supreme spiritual being, who is known as the Parabrahman, so which means the supreme soul. So everyone is Brahman, we're all spiritual beings, but there's only one Parabrahman, one supreme soul. So that's the opportunity in human life to realize that aham brahmasmi, I am a soul, and I am a servant of the Parabrahman, of the supreme soul, and to reawaken that loving relationship, and then we don't have to come back. We don't have to come back. So it was talking about that in these verses, 8th chapter, texts 13 and 14, that we can be happy and free from karmic reactions if we live in this Krishna conscious way. And it's use the words in the city of 9 gates, because this body is compared to a city. This body is compared to a city, and a city has a certain number of gates, right? Like I was just saying to Bob last week, how in Jagannath Puri is like a massive, it's like a city around the temple, and they have this big, massive wall around the temple, and they have a north gate, a south gate, an east gate, a west gate. So they have 4 gates in that city. I don't know if you remember that, Bhakti Mala. Remember we walked around the temple. Only Jayanti could go inside the temple. I think Deepa went too. Deepa went too, didn't she? Did she go inside?
I'm not sure if she did. We just went with Keshava one night. I didn't go when you and Jayanti went.
But I didn't go inside. I never have been inside, but she went inside. They have a rule there at that temple that only Indians can go inside. Anyway, we walked around it and we saw these big gates. One's called the Lion Gate, and another one, I can't remember the other names, but they have a name for each gate. But this body is compared to a city of 9 gates. So, Bob, do you remember the 9 gates?
I do. I'm
testing him now. This is his test.
Your eyes, your ears,
yes.
Your nostrils, your mouth,
yes. Yep.
Your genitals, your anus.
Yes. So those are the 9 holes, the 9 holes in the body, like gates, right? Very good. You passed the test. Flying colours.
Thank you.
Flying colours. That's compared to a city of 9 gates. So we can be happy within the city and free from karmic reactions if we live as a yogi, a Krishna conscious yogi. So this is what's been talked about here. So let's see.
Another question. What was the name of the gate you said? The Lion Gate?
Yeah, so that's in a holy place in India, at Jagannath Puri, where Lord Jagannath, like in the Bhakti tree, Lord Jagannath is there with the big eyes. So that original deity Jagannath is in the city, Jagannath Puri.
Would one of the gates... Go on.
Yeah, and there's... To get into that temple, there's 4 ways. Through the north gate or the south gate or the west gate or the east gate. There's only 4 ways in, unless you want to climb over the wall, which is not recommended. But then, so there's 4 ways in or out. So each gate has a name. So one gate they've named the Lion Gate. And
they don't call one of them the Gate of Death, do they?
No.
No. The reason I ask is because the temples in Cambodia, as you know, and many people think they were built by the Buddhists, but they are actually Hindu temples, a lot of them originally. And there's one there where they call the
Angkor Wat.
Huh? Yeah.
Gate of Death. Yeah, I'm not sure about what was the reasoning behind that giving that name, Gate of Death. Yeah, I'm not sure what their reasoning was for that. But that could have been given by the Buddhists afterwards, after it changed from Hinduism to Buddhism.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that that could have been given by the Buddhists. Buddhists have a different philosophy on death. Their idea after death there's nothing, called nirvana. Their idea is to become nothing after death. So complete annihilation. So it's called a nihilistic philosophy. You know, they believe in complete annihilation. So that's sort of in their philosophy, and their goal is just after death there's nothing. So, you know, they might have called that, you know, I'm just speculating, I don't know, but I don't think in Hindu culture they would have called the gate of death.
Yeah.
You know, it's a bit of a different outlook on life. Different outlook. Okay, so let's read the Sanskrit for this one, text 15. I'll read the line first and then you can repeat. Nadate kasyachit papam.
Nadyate kaschachit papam.
Na chaiva sukritam vibhu.
Na chaiva sukram vibhu.
Ajnanena vritam jnanam.
Ajnanenam vitram jnanam.
I'll read that line again. Ajnanena vritam jnanam.
Ajnanena vritam jnanam.
Tena muyanti jantava.
Tena muyanti jantava.
Okay, Bhakti Mala, you want to read the English for that one?
Nor does the Supreme Lord assume one's sinful or pious activities. Embodied beings, however, are bewildered because of the ignorance which covers their real knowledge.
So this is a very important philosophical point to understand. This first point, nor does the Supreme Lord assume anyone's sinful or pious activities. So if you do something, if a person does something good or bad, you can't put the blame on the Lord. He's not responsible. You understand that? The Lord is not responsible for what we do. You can't say, oh, God, he is the controller. He is in control of everything. There, he made me kill this person. He made me rape this, or he made that person rape that person. Or he's responsible for, he created World War I and World War II, and he created coronavirus, and he did all these things. No, you can't put the blame on him. And Krishna himself is saying that here. He's not responsible. Although he is the supreme controller, but he's not responsible for the different good and bad things that happen. Now, how is that possible? So on one side, saying he's in control of everything, and like they say, not even a blade of grass moves without the will of the Lord. And on the other side, to say that he's not responsible for anything that we do.
Because we got a free will as well.
Yeah.
So means God given eyes, depends what we want to see. You want to see the disco light or temple light?
Yeah. So he is sanctioning our desires. So it's my desire, it's our desires that we want to do some good activity or do some bad activity. That's my desire. So with my minute free choice I have, I'm desiring. So, and I might use that desire, that free choice in a good way or a bad way, but then it's so the responsibility, where does it go? It comes to me, because it was my desire, and he made it happen. Yes, like we've been reading about these previous verses. Actually, we're not doing anything. Everything is done by the Lord and the demigods. You know, I scratch my head, but actually I'm not scratching my head. You know, there's a demigod in control of the arms that have scratched the head. It wasn't actually me that scratched the head. But where we come into the picture is that we desire it. We desire to do something, but they actually do it. It means the super soul and the heart and the demigods, they are actually doing the things. But even though they are doing all the things, you know, like they're actually the ones that are arranging us to walk somewhere or use our arms or make our eyes blink and our digestion work and everything. But they don't get responsibility for any of those things that are done, because we are the one that's initiating the whole process by our desires. So that's all we really have control over to some degree, is our desires. Therefore, it's very important. We should consider very carefully what we desire. Because if we desire if we misuse our free choice and desire, you know, bad things, so to speak, then, you know, we will get the reaction. We will get the reaction for that. But definitely you can't point the finger at the Lord. You know, it's his fault for the coronavirus, and it's his fault for all the bad people and all these kind of things and wars. And no, it's not. For people starving and everything like that. Well, I'll give you one example, right? That, you know, people say, you know, oh, there can't be a God, because if there was a God, there wouldn't be so many starving people in the world. You know, if there was a God in control, why would there be? It can't be a God, or he's an evil person if there is. So, but it's actually explained, like in the Manu Samhita and that, the law book for mankind, that if you kill a priest, the reaction for killing a priest is to take birth in a desert. That's just one particular scenario. There's many others, but that's one particular reaction. If you kill a priest, like a brahmana, then you take birth as a desert, like means starving. The reaction is you're gonna go hungry in your next life because you killed a priest. So you can't go and then after that then blame God. Oh, there's so many starving people in the world. No, why? Because people are like killing other people and everything. So that responsibility goes to them, not to God. Does that make sense? Does anyone want to say anything about that?
Yeah, I understand that. So can I just flip that over? So if it's a natural disaster, like say tsunamis, flood, whatever, that would be rest on Krishna's shoulders. But if it's to do with humans, it's the humans' fault.
No.
Okay, so clear it up for me. Yeah.
Even the tsunamis and floods and hurricanes, tornadoes, volcanic eruptions, you name it, pandemics, epidemics, whatever, it all rests on, it's all reactions for the humans' activities, humans' desires. The buck stops with the humans for the tsunami as well. These are all reactions to sinful activities. Tsunamis, earthquakes, hurricanes, you know, pandemics, all these things, they're all karmic reactions.
Right.
You know,
got it.
The reactions to people's activities. We say natural disasters.
Yep.
But really it's not that natural. It's man-made disaster. It's not natural, meaning just happened by chance. Because when you say natural disaster, you're sort of implying there's no cause behind it, right? It's just happened by chance. But actually there is no disaster that happens by chance. These are all reactions to different sinful activities, all these disasters. If you go back in a previous age, like the Golden Age, Satya Yuga, there were zero natural disasters. So that means it's not natural. Because in
there won't be much disease there, because they don't pesticize the carrot and apple.
Yeah, that's they're not so stupid to poison their own food.
Yeah.
And but there was no diseases in the Golden Age. No disasters.
Just eating in the right time. right food.
Everyone's in tune with God's system, with what He wants, with what He arranged, and everyone was devoted to God. Everyone followed the laws of God, and the result was people lived a happy, peaceful, prosperous life. There wasn't any tsunamis or earthquakes or tornadoes, so these are all man-made occurrences due to sinful reactions.
We contribute to the global warming and things like that. That's what's happening there. We the one contribute.
Yeah, like for example, like it's explained that one of the reactions to animal slaughter is war between men. That's a reaction. If we kill the animals, then nature arranges that we get slaughtered. You know, we slaughter the animals in the slaughterhouse, so Mother Nature will slaughter us on the battlefield. You know, so that's a reaction. It didn't happen just by chance. It was a reaction. If we hadn't killed the animals, then there wouldn't have been a war. The war is a result of us killing the animals. So
technically, we got no right to kill it. Like, you know, that we didn't give it a birth to this lamb or chicken. What right do we have to kill them? If that's the case, why don't you kill your own child?
Okay. I've got a couple of questions because I think about this quite a lot.
Yeah.
So, you know that there's that book, and there's all this New Age philosophy, the book The Secret? Did you
Rhonda Byrne's?
No. It's called The Secret anyway. And it's saying that the secret of the universe is that whatever you desire, if you have that sort of in your mind and you have that intention, that you'll get it. And, you know, there's all these stories, oh, you know, I'm a millionaire now, and I've got this and I desire this. And so, you know, there's all that. But Krishna will only give you what you
deserve.
Yeah, in your karma and things like that.
Yes. So what both of you said is right. What you deserve, what's within your karma. So
you can
having desire, that's half the equation. The other half of the equation is what's in your karmic bank account.
Yes.
Do you have enough credit? You know, it's like you might have a desire to buy a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
But if you've only got $1,000 in your bank balance, I mean, you might just get a second-hand Toyota Corolla, 19.
You're trying to say that's what I'm driving.
So, I mean, you did get a car, but it wasn't exactly the one you wanted.
One time I did have a sports car. It was enough in my bank account. Now it's not enough in bank account. It's a Toyota Corolla.
Yeah, but see, that's the other half of the equation, that your desire changed. You wanted to live a more simple life. So there's two parts of the equation, and these New Agers, they're only taking into account one part of the equation, that you have your desire is so strong, whatever you desire, that will happen. But
if it's not this life, next life, it will happen.
I mean, if that was the case, I mean, we'll just strongly desire that we're not going to grow old. We'll strongly desire that we don't get sick, and we'll strongly desire that we're not going to die. And it's not going to happen. I mean, do any of these New Agers, they're never getting any older, or none of them are dying? Of course they are. And did they desire to die? No, they didn't desire to die. So it's not just that your desire is in control of everything. No, desire is a very important part of the equation, our personal desire. But there's other factors in the equation too, you know, like what's your past karma, what good things have you done, what bad things have you done, you know, and that will determine what you actually get at the end of the day. And so, you know, that they're getting a millionaire husband or something like that, that's because they had that karma.
Yeah.
But they don't tell you that the other 99,000 New Agers didn't get a millionaire husband. that only one out of one in 100,000 got a millionaire husband. The other 99,000 just got, Joe Blow, so it doesn't work like that, that everyone can just have whatever they want if they desire strongly enough. I mean, we agree the mind is very powerful, but ultimately it has to be sanctioned by the Lord in the heart. And he's completely free to sanction or not to sanction. If you don't have the sufficient credits, he's not going to sanction it. It doesn't matter how strongly you desire. But because he's the Supreme Father and we're his children, I mean, if the children, as you know,
he can do anything. He can do anything.
If the kid pesters the mum and dad long enough, right? Sometimes they'll give in. Mommy, daddy, I want a Lego set for Christmas. Come on, get it to me, give it to me. I want it. And eventually, sometimes the parent might just, okay, you can have it. Okay.
But one thing, parents wants to give it that, they will see how much the child listen to me. If the child listen to parents very well, parents will say, I think he deserve it. So listen to Krishna, he will say.
Yeah.
So I also wanted to ask you what you thought about, like we have free will, but everything in our life already sort of planned out.
Not everything, 80%.
I'm asking Abhay. Not Gulshan Guru.
Opinion, this is opinion, not advice.
I'm asking Abhay, is it, because some things feel like they are divinely orchestrated in your life. And then sometimes every day it feels like that as well, So do you just have the free will to react, or is Krishna got this big plan from when we come into the world, or?
Destiny. What's your destiny? So destiny is actually the results of your past karma. Results of your past karma. So that means what you're experiencing today was actually the seed was sown on a previous day, and now you're getting the fruit of that now, the result of that now. So going by that philosophy, then you can't maybe necessarily change what's happening today, right now, because that was already done previously. But what can you change? A
future.
You can change your karma.
Yeah. What are you gonna be tomorrow?
You can change your karma now. Like, what am I? Karma means your actions.
Yeah.
Your actions. So
that's gonna decide the actions now. Tomorrow.
Yeah, and the actions are not going to affect. Are not going to affect right now, but they're going to affect down the line. They're going to. So I'm shaping my future destiny by my current actions, and what I'm experiencing right now is a result of the past. So ordinarily, you can't change your karma. Means what you're destined to get, that's going to come to you no matter what you do. Because, like I said, you've already done it in the past, and the reaction is coming towards you. It's just time is separating. Time is separating, but sooner or later, you're going to get the reaction to your past activities. So ordinarily, you can't change that. However, there is an exception. That destiny can be changed if one surrenders to the Supreme, because he makes the law and he can break the law also. So ordinarily, you might have been destined for a 20-year jail sentence, for example, using the modern law system as an example. But if the king or the leader says that we'll let you off tomorrow, then we can do that. The person that's in charge.
It depends, like how strong your will is.
Not just that.
I mean,
Someone's got a lot of noise going on.
yes,
There's a lot
it
of
is.
noise going
Where
on.
does the noise come from?
Microphone.
Somebody's opening the book or something, pages.
Not this end.
If someone's in a noisy environment,
I can
maybe
hear
just
it
turn your
as that
microphone off.
dragging their bag.
I'm inside the home. Bhakti Mala, are you running or jogging?
I think it's
You're doing exercise? Okay, I understand.
Anyway, it must be our karma to
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's a Josh.
Is there noise?
Yes.
Alright.
Okay. But yeah, stay with us, whoever you are.
Josh.
Stay with us.
Is it Josh?
Yeah. So there is one exception to you can't change your destiny, and that's if you engage in bhakti and service to the Supreme. If the Supreme is pleased by your service, he might change your karma. Like it said, if you clap, when you clap in front of the deities, like in a temple that has deities there, and during the singing, the kirtan, one may feel happy and clap like that. It said when you clap in front of the deities, you're changing the lines on your hand. It's said that your destiny is written on your hand. You know, there's palmistry, right? That's one particular science called palmistry. So it's said that these different lines represent different things that are going to happen to you. There's a lifeline. I think one of them is a lifeline, how long you're going to live for. One tells you how many times you're getting married or whether you're getting married or not.
How many children?
How many kids you're going to have and all this kind of stuff like that. So it's said it's already written on your hand. But it's saying when you clap in front of the deities, you're changing the lines. Changing the lines means whatever was going to happen to you, that may change. It might have been destined that this was going to happen to you, but then actually it didn't happen to you. Something else happened. So that can happen, and that changes everything completely. But ordinarily, it is quite locked in. That whatever's destined to come to us because of our past karma, good or bad, you might be destined for some good things to happen because of past good things you did. Or you might be destined to have bad things happen because past bad things you did. So, and also now what I'm doing, if I do good things now, that will create something good in future. And if I do bad things now, that will create some bad reactions in future. So destiny doesn't mean that it's all out of your hands. Destiny means that it is in your hands. You are shaping your destiny. You can't, say, oh, God is making everything happen. I'm not doing anything. I might as well not do anything because it's all destined to happen. You could say that in the Battle of Kurukshetra, right? Oh, the destiny was that all these soldiers are going to die. So Arjuna could think, well, if it's all destined that all these soldiers are going to die, the Pandavas and the Kauravas, so I don't need to fight then. I might as well just go back to bed. I might as well just go back to the palace, go back to bed and have a feast. And because it's all destined, they're all going to die. So whether I fight or not going to fight, doesn't really matter. No, we do have a part to play. We do have a part to play. And we should be very careful what we do, what activities we do, and always trying to line up our desires and our activities with what the Supreme wants. And that will create a very good future for ourselves. And whatever does happen to us now, we should, if some bad things happening to us, we should think we should take responsibility for it. This was done by myself. I can't blame the government or my parents or God for the suffering I'm going through. This is all done by my own past karma. But we should think, a devotee thinks, that Krishna is so kind, he's minimized my own past bad karma. That's how a devotee thinks. Like I've told you before, when my devotee friend had the end of his finger cut off, he said that I deserve to have my whole arm cut off, but Krishna's so kind, he just took the end off my finger. You know, so he says that my past bad karma has been minimized by Krishna's mercy, by his grace. I deserved a lot worse because of my past bad karma, but Krishna's minimized it. And when some good things happen to a devotee, the devotee thinks, I don't deserve this. Krishna's so kind. He's given me such a nice situation, good health and nice family or whatever, nice friends.
Prashadam.
Prashadam. I don't deserve this. But Krishna's so kind to give me all of this. So he's happy in every situation. If something good happens to him,
I could have to die in my cancer, but Krishna was so merciful.
Yeah.
He says, no.
So in every situation, we should be very grateful, very happy.
Because you're alive, breathing.
When good things happen to a materialistic person, they think that
it's my efforts. I did it.
Yeah, they take the credit.
Yeah.
That I did it. You know, this is due to me. That my business doubled the profit this month. It's due to me. And something bad happens to them, and they pass it on to someone else. But that's not fair, is it? You should take it both ways. If you take the credit for the good, you should take credit for the bad also. You know, so different ways of seeing things. But yeah, so we do have a part to play in destiny. It's not just all out of our control, and it doesn't matter what we do. No, we have to stick to doing our duties, and we shouldn't think it's all predestined. I mean, like some things are, but like I'm saying, bhakti can change your destiny. You know, like Prabhupada said 40 plus years ago, he said, if it wasn't for the spread of the Krishna consciousness movement, there would have already been a World War III. How about that? That's changing destiny in a big way, isn't it? He said, if it wasn't for the spread of Krishna consciousness, there would have already been a World War III. So that the destiny can be changed. You know, it's a lot of people that might have been a lot worse off. You know, things have improved for them. You know, if God's pleased, he can just change the laws of material nature.
Yeah, he's the creator. He can do anything. He can change anything.
Actually, I don't know where this information comes from, but I was told that I think it was the 19th of September 1965, there was a whole lot of Russian nuclear submarines parked off the coast of America ready to push the button. Yeah. And then they got a word from someone that don't push the button. But they planned, that was the plan, to start the war on that day, to start the war. And guess what happened on 19th September 1965?
Prabhupada visit the Russia?
No, Prabhupada landed in America. Prabhupada arrived in America on that day. Now, I don't know whether that's coincidence or by chance or whatever like that World War III got averted on the day that Prabhupada landed in America or like that. It's not from the scriptures or anything. So, but anyway, that's just indicating that, you know, destiny can be changed if we do service for the Lord and the Lord's pleased by our service. He may change our destiny. And that's the basic principle of Krishna consciousness, and that's what our faith lies in, that if we can somehow or other just please the Supreme, the all-powerful Supreme Controller, if we can please him somehow or other, then our life's going to be better. Our life's going to be perfect. It's going to be successful. And not only ours, but everyone's. Because he's the controller of everything. He can just turn dark into, night into day. He can turn misery into happiness. He can, flip things upside down. I mean, he makes planets float in the air, right? You know, he's very powerful. You know, so that's what we put our faith in. And we just endeavor for that, to try to please the Supreme Person, knowing that, you know, that he can help us all to be happier and peaceful and everything like that. And like you're living with your parents. I mean, it makes sense that you try to please them, isn't it? That's just natural. I mean, you're living with the people that are maintaining you and providing for you and protecting you and are in control of you and everything. It makes sense, to try to please them. And I mean, modern society is crazy, We don't care about the people that are maintaining us, that our guardians or maintainers and providers and everything. We don't care about them. We may even insult them or treat them badly or whatever. But it's not very logical. If you're living under your parents and you just criticize them, insult them, or you ignore them or whatever like that, that's you're not doing yourself a great favor.
You can't get their blessings.
Yeah, because you're not going to get their blessings.
Blessing the big thing.
Yeah, that's a big thing. That's a big thing. I mean, they're the people. It makes sense. You want to try to please the people that are feeding you and putting a roof over your head and clothes on your back and educating you and everything. That makes sense, it's just logical. So you just magnify that to the, Supreme Father and all of his unlimited children, spiritual children. It's the same principles apply. We want to try to please the Supreme, and that's natural. That's a natural relationship. Okay, so that was the first part. It's saying, so nor does the Supreme Lord assume anyone's sinful or pious activities. Embodied beings, however, are bewildered because of ignorance, which covers their real knowledge. So what does it mean, embodied being? We talked about this a little bit with Bob the last week. So the soul is inside this body. So we're not the body, but we're inside the body. So often we're called an embodied being. So that's what embodied being means. We're a spiritual being, but we're embodied. We're inside this body. As the Vedas say, the soul is situated within the heart region of this body. That's where the soul lives, within the heart. So we are inside this body. So we know embodied. And we are bewildered because of ignorance, which covers their real knowledge. So this is our real enemy. This is our number one enemy, is ignorance. Because of ignorance, our real knowledge is covered over. What's real knowledge? What is it? What are some things you would think of as real knowledge?
We are not this body, we are the soul.
Yeah, that's real knowledge. Something else? Other things?
Real knowledge, death is real. Everybody has to die, that's it.
Yeah, that's real knowledge, that we have to die. And real knowledge is that we have an eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord. Yeah. And the real knowledge is that we're responsible for our actions. That's real knowledge. So all this kind of real knowledge is covered by ignorance. So this is our worst enemy. Because of ignorance, we engage in pap, which means sinful. That word's there actually in the first line, papam, sin. Because of ignorance, we engage in papam and sinful activities, bad karma. And due to that bad karma, what's the result of bad karma? Is suffering. So, and who's the cause of the suffering? Is ourself, who's acting in ignorance. So what's the solution? What is the solution?
We can't change the past, at least we can change the future, do the right karma.
We have to get out of ignorance. We have to have real knowledge. We have to get out of ignorance, and then instead of doing papam, sinful activities, we'll do purifying activities, punya. We'll do purifying activities, and that will the result of purifying activities, pious activities called punya, is happiness, which is what we all want. But you're not going to get happiness from doing sinful activities. That's ignorant. The thing, I do no sinful activities, I'm going to be happy. That's just ridiculous. That's just ignorant to think like that. So ignorance is that thing that covers our knowledge. That's ignorance. Things that cover our knowledge. So this is talked about, this point about covering knowledge is talked about the end of the 3rd chapter. So let's just look at that, text 37, starting from text 37.
Still on
3rd chapter. Karma Yoga, the 3rd chapter, text 37.
37.
So we're just looking at this point of what covers our knowledge, which is disastrous for the soul, because the soul originally is fully enlightened. We're that's in Buddhist philosophy, right? That the purpose is to seek enlightenment. So naturally the soul is enlightened. We're in full knowledge. So then the question is, how did an enlightened soul become so ignorant? What happened to all that knowledge? What happened to all that knowledge of the soul? We're so enlightened. How did we lose it? So this looks at that point of how did our knowledge get lost? How did it get covered over? Okay, so Bob, do you want to read this one?
Well, you're talking about
37.
Yeah, okay.
Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Right, I got it. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "It is lust only, a Arjuna which is born to contact with the material mode of passion and later transformed into wrath, and which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of the world."
Okay, so let's continue and we'll see. We'll just sum it up at the end. Okay, Gulshan.
Yeah.
Text 38.
Yeah. As fire is covered by the smoke, a mirror is covered by dust, or as embryo is covered by the womb, the living entity is similarly covered by different degrees of lust, this lust.
Okay. Yeah. Bhakti-mala, 39.
Thus the wise living entity's pure consciousness becomes covered by his eternal enemy in the form of lust, which is never satisfied and which burns like fire.
Okay, I'll read 40. The senses, the mind, and the intelligence are the sitting places of this lust. Through them, lust covers the real knowledge of the living entity and bewilders him. Okay, Bob?
Yep. Sorry, mate.
41.
Okay. Therefore, Arjuna, best of the Bharatas is the very beginning curb this great symbol of sin, and in brackets lust, by regulating the senses and slay this destroyer of knowledge and self-realization.
Gulshan, 42.
The working senses are superior to dull matter. Mind is higher than the senses. Intelligence is still higher than the mind. And the soul is ever higher than the intelligence.
Bhakti-mala?
Thus knowing oneself to be transcendental to the material senses, mind and intelligence, O mighty armed Arjuna, one should steady the mind to deliberate spiritual intelligence, Krishna consciousness, and thus by spiritual strength conquer this insatiable enemy known as lust.
So lust here means, this is calm, means material desires. And Krishna is saying here, this is our number one enemy. Number one enemy.
When the lust doesn't fulfill, anger comes.
Yeah. And when you don't get what you desire, then you become angry. But it all starts from these material desires. It's very destructive. And one of the worst effects of this material desires is that it covers over our real knowledge of the self-realization. It covers over that knowledge. And where is this lust? Krishna tells us it's in our senses, it's in our mind, it's in our intelligence. And how do we conquer this lust? Krishna says, first you've got to control your senses. First you have to control your senses. Yeah. And that's why we have the regulator principles. You ask, why do you Hare Krishnas follow these 4 rules? No meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling. That's all sense control. Because it's through this uncontrolled senses of engaged in meat eating, illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, that we get so involved in bad karma, sinful activity, and just continue the cycle. So that's why we have to control the senses. Any genuine spiritual path is going to have controlling the senses there. Very important to control the senses. It's through the senses that the lust begins to entangle us in this material world, the material desires.
So, if the soul's eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge, does that mean that when we're in the spiritual world, this is where the lust develops to bring us back down? Like, it's the envy that brings us back down. So does it starts in the spiritual world somehow, and it's brought us back here.
Yeah.
And it stays in our subtle body lifetime after. How does it work? Because I know that that's the original state of the soul, but yeah.
Good question. So just picture this: the soul is in the spiritual world, and we're happily serving Krishna there in a blissful state. And Krishna, of course, as the Supreme, has unlimited free choice. And we're part of the Supreme, so we have minute free choice. So with that free choice, it is possible to come into our heart, into our mind, that I wonder what it would be like to be in Krishna's position. You're serving him, but that possibility is there. I wonder what it would be like to be in Krishna's position. And as soon as you have that desire in the spiritual world, that you have some desire to experience Krishna's position, to be the enjoyer, not the servant, then immediately the soul comes down into the material world. So yeah, it's that desire, that free choice. And then those material desires just manifest life after life in the material world. I wonder what it would be like to fly in the sky. Okay, get the body of a bird. I wonder what it would be like to swim in the sea. Okay, get the body of a fish. I wonder what it would be like to eat meat. Okay, get the body of a tiger. So with all those desires, and then Krishna just fulfills those desires. But that desire to take his position can't be fulfilled in the spiritual world, because Krishna is the only enjoyer in the spiritual world. He's the center of attention in the spiritual world. So Krishna has to create another environment where we can imitate being him, where we can have a go at taking his position, and that's the material world. I said that one of the very first births the soul takes in the material world is you become Lord Brahma. Okay, you want to be the center? Okay, you can be the center of the universe. You can have your own universe, Bhakti Mala, Gulshan, Bob. Have your own universe, and it all revolving around you. And then it's all downhill from there. Then you eventually end up as a tiny creature in the bottom of the ocean. So gradually fall down further and further and further. But
I've been to that journey. I don't want to go again.
Yeah. So that's in the 7th chapter, text 27 establishes this point about how this desire is the cause of our being locked into this material world. And on the other side of desire is hate.
The desire is the cause of all sufferings.
Material desires. Spiritual desires is the cause
Yeah,
of
of course.
our liberation.
Yeah,
If
of
we have
course.
spiritual desires to please Krishna, to serve Krishna. But if we want to please our own senses, because that's what lust is, the definition of lust, is the desire to please my own senses. And on the opposite side of that is love, which is the desire to please Krishna's senses. And that's what liberates us from the world. When we have the desire to please the senses of the Supreme, that's what bhakti is, to have that desire to please the senses of the Supreme. But when we have that perverted desire to please our own senses, that's lust. And that's what brings us into the material world, and that's what keeps us in the material world. As long as we have that lust or that desire, I want to please my own senses, that locks us into the material world, and then Krishna arranges all of our true knowledge, our real knowledge, to be covered over, so that we can experience that illusory life, that we're the center. You know? Obviously, if you want to imitate him, you have to forget your real self. How could you play God's role if you were aware that you're a servant of God? How could you do that? You can't. So God wipes out all that knowledge of who you really are, because you want to play him. You want to play his role. So he has to clean off, all the previous memory. There's that we've heard there's this medication people can take that deletes, memory, right? Deletes your memory. So Krishna did that, for us. He deleted our memory of who we really are and our real relationship with him, because we wanted to play another role, play his role. So, and that was what we wanted. So that's what he did. Okay, so let's look at that. Text 27. But the good news is we can get our memory back. Krishna can give our memory back. Better than the...
But he deleted the memory of the past life. I don't know what was in my past life.
That material medicine that deletes your memory, they don't have another medicine that can give you the memory back, so it's not as good as what Krishna can do. Because Krishna can revive our real knowledge. Yes. O sign of Bharata, O conqueror of foe, all living beings are born into delusion. It means complete ignorance. Bewildered by dualities arisen from desire and hate. So that's it. That's the cause of our coming into the material world, and that's what keeps us into the material world. And this is known as a world of dualities. So these are the original dualities. Duality means two, right? Happy and cold, and rich and poor, honor and dishonor, good and bad, and all that, black and white, night and day. So it's a world of dualities, right? So this is the original duality that started off all the other dualities, desire and hate. Desire of what? Prabhupada mentions in the purport. Due to desire and hate, the ignorant person wants to become one with the Supreme Lord. So that's the desire. We want to become one with the Supreme Lord. We want to take Krishna's position. And envies Krishna as a Supreme Person of Godhead. So that comes with it, right? If I want to be Gulshan, if I want to take Gulshan's position, why is Gulshan in that house? I want to be in that house. Let me take that house and kick Gulshan out. So along with desire to be someone, along with that comes the envy or hatred of them. I want what that person has, and I want to take their girlfriend, and I want to take their money, and I want to take their house and everything, and I want to kill them or get rid of them. So that goes together. When you want to be Krishna, then also with that comes a hatred of Krishna, envy and hatred of Krishna. So this is the original duality. And because of that original desire and hate, then all these other ones are coming. And we become envious of everyone. We don't like the black people, or we don't like the you know, the Aussies, or we don't like the Kiwis, or, you know, the Kiwis don't like the Aussies, and the Aussies don't like the Kiwis, or black don't like the white, and the white don't like the black, and the Maoris here don't like the Pakihas. You know, there's so many things like that. So all these other envies and hatreds begin from that. So I said, if you want to get rid of envy of everyone, you just have to deal with one envy, your envy of God. If you can get free from your envy of God, then you can get free from envy of everyone else too. Like a devotee of Krishna, he's not envious of anyone. He's not envious of anyone. Even if someone does bad to him, he won't hate him. He won't. Haridas Thakur, a great devotee of Krishna and follower of Lord Chaitanya, he was born in a Muslim family, and he became a great follower of devotee of Lord Chaitanya. And the Muslims hated him because he gave up the Muslim religion and took up the Hindu religion, which is not Hindu, but anyway, Krishna consciousness. They were seeing it as Hindu. And that's a big no-no from a Muslim point of view, to give up Muslim and become a Hindu. So, because he was chanting Hare Krishna all day and night. So they said, you give up this Hindu religion or we'll kill you. He said, oh, you can do whatever you like. You can cut my body into 1 million pieces, but I'm not going to stop chanting Hare Krishna. And so they took it up. So they took him to different marketplaces, called all the local people, and they started beating the crap out of him with canes. You know, they whipped him in 22 marketplaces. A normal person would be dead after maybe 3 or 4 marketplaces, but he was survived, I think, 22 marketplaces, and he wasn't looking any worse off than the first one, because Krishna was protecting him, obviously. And the people that were told to kill him, they were feeling really bad, not about Haridas, but about themselves, that if we go back and tell our boss that we didn't kill you, he's going to kill us and our families. So when Haridas heard that his persecutors were going to suffer, he apparently died through all external causes. He just dropped down like dead. Actually, he wasn't dead. He was in samadhi. He entered into a trance. So when they dropped him in the river, they dropped him in the Ganges, and then he floated down the river, and they were thinking he's dead. And then when he got to the other side, he just walked out. He walked out again. And then, but that's his compassion. Even the people that are torturing him and killing him, he didn't hate them. He still loved them. That's because he loved God. You know, someone that gives up his envy for God and loves God, then is not envious of anyone, doesn't hate anyone. It's amazing. And if we don't love God, then we don't really love anyone, and we hate everyone. You know, so that's the best way to deal with all of these bad qualities that we have. It's just by sorting out our relationship with God. If you sort out your relationship with Krishna, you automatically sort out your relationship with everyone. That's the beautiful thing. And if you don't sort out a relationship with God, you're not going to be able to sort out your relationship with anyone else. Interesting, huh? So yeah, it's said like that we have a desire to be the supreme, and because of that we hate the supreme, and that's perpetuating our existence in the material world, this duality of desire and hate. So the whole process of Krishna consciousness is to get free from these dualities of desire and hate. Instead of desiring to be the Supreme Lord, we desire. What do we desire? It's not that we stop desiring. We can't become a stone, but we desire to serve the Supreme. We desire to serve the Supreme. And because that's there, then the hatred goes, and then we're free from dualities. We just desire to serve the Supreme. So much to say, but we've run out of time, unfortunately. Again,
Thank you so much.
It's taken away.
Thank you.
I'll see you at Kirtan on Saturday.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Wonderful,
Hare
wonderful.
Krishna. Thank you so much, Abhay.
Pleasure, pleasure.
Okay.
Good luck with everything.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna. How's it going, Bhakti Mala?
Yeah.
Jyoti was saying you're a bit concerned. How are you going to manage your new schedule of two rosters a day or something? She was saying.
Oh yeah, no, not concerned. I have been praying to Krishna to help me, but